It has officially been a year since I decided to start playing Jurassic World Alive again. If you don't know, Jurassic World Alive is a little bit of a like a Pokemon Go inspired app where you go out in the world and you look for dinosaurs and you use like little syringes to collect DNA from them and then you add them to your own collection. It's very fun. It's perfect if you're like a fan of dinosaurs or a fan of prehistoric life or a fan of the Jurassic franchise, a fan of any of those things, you'll probably love the game. Since then, I've amassed quite an impressive collection, at least by my standards, and I've also formed many attachments to many of those creatures in my collection. Like, there's a lot of them that I really like. I mainly like their design. That's mainly what I base it off of. If it looks cool or if it looks good, then I'm going to like it. So, in essence, that's what this video is going to be about. I'm just going to show you which ones I have deemed worthy enough to be my favorite. Whatever that's worth. So let's get right into it. We'll go ahead and start off with the Concavinator. I pretty much fell in love with this the minute I saw it like pop up on my map. And just look at it. Look how cool it is. Now, first of all, it has the basic Concavinator shape, which is absolutely awesome. Concavinator is a Carcharodontisaurid, so it has a typical Carcharodontisaurid shaped skull, which is something that I think they did pretty well right here, even if it is a little bit shrink wrapped. It has a really cool base color of green with some accents of reds. Those are complementary colors, and also perfect because we're close to Christmas. So, hey, Christmas themed video because we have red and green right here. But it looks awesome. It also seems to have some osteoderms going down from its head all the way down its back, which is really not something that had been found with Concavinator, so it's unlikely that it had it. But all around, this still looks absolutely amazing and is one of my favorites. Next up is the little ceratopsian known as Protoceratops. Love these guys in general. In real life, I think that they're really fascinating dinosaurs. Of course, they lived in Mongolia during the late Cretaceous period. And most famously, we have a very well-preserved one in combat with velociraptors. So Protoceratops is kind of a big deal, if you ask me. And so did they nail its design? Yes, they did. It looks absolutely beautiful. It looks just like the animal. You'll notice that like a lot of these designs are like some of the most accurate ones, which is something that I always appreciate. But that's definitely starting with the Protoceratops. The head shape looks spot on, the body looks really good, and it has the properly shaped tail. You'll see right here, the Protoceratops actually has a very strange looking tail, which is something that you might not expect from an animal like that. But yeah, that is something that's present. It also has like some tan colors with some darker colors in contrast. Everything just looks absolutely amazing. And again, is one of my favorites. Next up is Inostransavia. I'm a little bit biased for this because Inostransavia is one of my favorite prehistoric creatures ever. It's actually a tier on my Patreon, which by the way, if you want to help support the channel, go and follow me on Patreon or go and pledge on Patreon. Or don't, because I'm not your father, so you don't have to do what I tell you to. But yeah, Inostransavia is absolutely amazing, and I think they kind of did it justice here. I especially love the blue, like the slight hints of blue mixed in with the darker, like grayish, brownish colors that you have going on. I think it looks absolutely awesome. It also has the saber teeth, which is, of course, something that Inostransavia did have. Inostransavia is a gorgonopsid that lived in the, I believe in Russia, during the late Permian. They were therapsids, which means that they are very closely related to us, like very related to humans. They are, by extension, they are also synapsids. Far more closely related to humans and to mammals than they are to dinosaurs and reptiles, which is very crazy to think about, right? But no, I love this. I think that they did a great job with this one too. Moving on to a pterosaur, we have the little Neurognathus. Look at these little fellas. A Neurognathus out of the game is one of my favorite pterosaurs. And that, yes, a lot of that is because I think that they're adorable. All right, look at them. They nailed their design here. They have the very rounded head with the mouth filled with tiny needle-like teeth. These guys were adapted for hunting, insects and things like that. Very similar to modern day bats, which is, something that they look a lot like. Even though they're not that closely related to mammals, they are, of course, reptiles. It's just an example of convergent evolution, which is basically just a phenomenon where like two unrelated species or just like groups of animals evolve similar traits in like similar environmental pressures, even though they're not that related to each other. Bats and a Neurognathus, I'd say, is a pretty decent example of that. They also have those like huge old bugged out eyes, which I absolutely adore. I really like a Neurognathus, and they did a good job with it. I also really like how the smaller creatures are like, there's 3 of them instead of just 1. I think that's really, really interesting. Don't you agree, Ahsoka? I guess my cat is joining us. I don't even know if she's on camera. Show yourself. Here. Say hello. Ugh, okay. You're the one who wanted to you wanted to crawl on the thing. Okay. After that, we have the dodo. I absolutely adore their design here. I actually think that I forgot to talk about them in my many interpretations of the dodo video, which is unfortunate because again, I really like their design here. There's like they vary in color when you're looking at these each individuals, and I really like the kind of striking blue coloration that you mostly see on the middle one. Other than that, the whole body shape looks really good. The head looks really good. It looks like a spot on dodo, and I love it. I also just have like a soft spot for dodos because of the whole thing that happened to them. Dodos are really cool. They're one of the like they're just like a really cool extinct dinosaur technically. But yeah, just really cool animals. After that is the ornithomimys, a feathered ornithomimid. That's all I want. I know that there's other feathered ornithomimids in this, and I do consider those my favorites as well. But I just decided to choose one of them, and I went with the ornithomimys because look how cool this looks. It has some red on its arm. It's got some like that's a cattail walking by. It's got like lighter gray colorations. You're like moving my camera, so it's got some like light gray colorations with some hints of blue, and just the coverage of the feathers seem to be spot on for what is likely for ornithomimids like this. Looks beautiful, and I really need to see like feathered ornithomimids on screen. You know, it's just you just can't. You just got to see them with feathers. You know, it looks perfect. After that is the Scorpio Venator, which is a relatively recent addition to the game. This is an Abelosaurid, and it's probably my favorite Abelosaurid in the game. Look how cool this looks. They nailed it with this design. The skull looks fantastic. The rest of the body looks really good. The arms seem to be set in the correct position, and the colors are fantastic as well, with those really cool like stripes and kind of little spots going on all over the place that just give it a really nice texture. It also does seem like that it does have random large scales throughout the body, which is something that Abelosaurids did have. Or at the very least, Carnotaurus did have it. We do have fossil evidence of that. It is likely that other Abelosaurids had that too. So I do appreciate seeing it here, and they did a really good job with this. After that is Plateosaurus. Now, I love Plateosaurus in general. It's one of my favorite dinosaurs. It's a dinosaur that I think is incredibly underrated and should be talked about a lot more than it is. Um, their design here, not necessarily accurate. The proportions are a little bit off, but it looks so good. I adore it. I adore it. It's like jacked. It's like a kangaroo, right? Like, have you ever seen how like jacked kangaroos are? That's what this Plateosaurus reminds me of. It's got like huge, just like huge arms just going on. You know, it's just like it feels like it has its arm like hands balled up in fists. I don't know. It's just it has a soft spot in my heart, which I think I've said that a lot already, but I like it. I don't know. It is properly bipedal too, which is something that is awesome. The Maiasaura. Actually, I also really like the Edmontosaurus, so I'll have that here too. I think the Edmontosaurus looks really cool in this, but the Maiasaura is one that really stands out to me because of those colors. It feels like we're always seeing colors like this for Maiasaura, where you have like a base coloration of like darker like blues or blacks or something like that, and then lighter stripes, which just feels right for Maiasaura by this point. The skull looks really good. Everything looks really good about it, except for maybe the forelimbs. Of course, Edmontosaurus has been found with hoof-like structures on the forelimbs. It is very much possible that other hadrosaurs had something similar to that, so it's always weird for me to see hadrosaurs without that. But that aside, everything else looks beautiful about it. And then finally, of course, I was going to talk about this one. There is the Spinosaurus aegypticus. Of course, I was going to have this one. You know, just of course. I probably have it in the thumbnail too. This one is so cool. It's accurate, of course, to our understanding of the animal, except for maybe the overall positioning of its torso might be a little bit off, like the way it's kind of holding itself might be a tad bit off, but everything else looks fantastic about it. It's got those massive arms with 3 fingers on each hand, massive claws as well, the very interesting looking like basilisk-esque tail. The sail looks fantastic. The skull looks really good with the crest, and I gotta say, it's really cool to hear like the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus roar with this, like this accurate one. That's just really cool in my opinion. This is also a creature that I have different skins for. Like the default skin looks great, and this type of marsh skin looks fantastic. There's also like the kind of coleslaw type skin. I don't think that's what it's called. That's what it looks like. Not really my favorite, but the other skins look really good. And there we go. Those are simply just a few of my favorites. They're not all of my favorites. I do have more favorites. There's a lot of really cool designs in this game, and a lot of designs that I think are kind of like a miss. There's a lot of designs I'm not too big of a fan of, but these ones, I like these ones. These ones are really good. I think that they did a fantastic job with them. I think they really captured the animals in a very good way. But if you guys would like to see the rest of my favorites, then be sure to like this video and comment if you would like to see the rest of them, because I wouldn't mind doing a part 2. And if you would like to see this sort of video for the other types of games that we have, like Jurassic World Evolution 2, Jurassic World the game, all those really cool games, then also be sure to let me know if, what am I saying? Be sure to let me know if that's something you'd like to see. But in the meantime, if you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing. That really does help. And if you want to help support the channel, again, I do have a Patreon page. The link is down below. That, of course, would help me, continue to make content, continue to make this dinosaur-related content. And your support is really awesome. I do appreciate every single one of you. That's pretty much all I have for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have an awesome day.